Hey, everybody, and welcome again to another wonderful Global Lives Speakers Summit. It is our 25th summit, and we are so glad that you're here with us today. We have a wonderful lineup of speakers for you. Wherever you are, I welcome you today, this morning, this afternoon, good evening. And here I am in the UK, and we're currently on afternoon time. So you'll probably hear me say afternoon a few times today. We're going to get started today. Before I introduce our wonderful speakers who are talking on the topic of how to make your personal brand on social media, I would like to first introduce you to a little bit about our company, Global Speakers Talk, which I'm very proud to be part of the team. I'm just going to quickly share my screen with you so that I can share that with you. And I'm going to share with you. Oh, let me click it. There we go. So Global Speakers Talk. We are a startup international company. We were founded in 2021 in the public speaking industry. We organize online events to uncover, discover, and share your amazing inner voice around the globe. Global Speakers Talk is determined to raise and lift, encourage and inspire all new coaches, speakers and trainers who are camera shy to face their fears and do it anyway. We're here for you and your voice, providing you with accountability and a welcoming, big, supportive community for positive feedback and to strengthen your confidence in your voice. GST's core belief is that every voice and every new voice is a story to be told. It needs to be uncovered and come into the light to grow and impact the world. Our vision is to inspire, raise, and support 1 million inner voices, empowering them to discover and embrace their full potential. So that's a little bit about us, and a sneak preview. We do have something very exciting coming up where we're going to be launching GST Live on YouTube. And if you keep up with us and in the Global Speakers Talk community or on the Global Speakers Talk page, then you'll hear more about that exciting project that's coming to your screens very soon. In the meantime, I'm just going to give you a quick introduction to myself. I am your host. My name is Lisa Marie Igbenovia, and I have been a primary school teacher ever since I left college. That's all I wanted to ever be, and I have been doing that since leaving college. And then I always thought that was what I would always do. However, life had some turns for me, and I decided to change and shift a little bit. And after working for many years in the classroom, 23 classrooms, I decided to start Exquisite Learners in 2020, which is the way that I could then work online at home and help parents with teaching their children with homework and if they wanted to take on full-time learning. I've got a supportive community Facebook group that I've been running for a while now called Teach Your Child to Learn at Home, 3 to 8 year olds. And really what I do is just try to encourage parents to embrace learning with their children and seeing it as a journey together where they're both learning together, because everything has changed from when we were at school. And also some parents don't perhaps feel as confident that they know exactly what the child needs or the homework. So I'm there as a bit of a mentor, someone in their back pocket to help motivate them and their children so that they can have an early love of learning to last a lifetime, build those strong bonds and memories as a family. So I'm also a children's book illustrator, an artist and designer, and I do sell on Etsy at Exquisite with Heart. And I've got a program on YouTube for free where you can learn to draw. I illustrate currently a best-selling series of reading books for 5 to 10 year olds and early and reluctant readers. And those stories are available on Amazon along with the activity books. Our 7th story is just launched this month, and we're also bringing out some bi-monthly book subscription boxes later in the year. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited to be working alongside a new author on a new picture book series, as well as continuing with the current one and working also with a team of authors and creatives in a CIC to produce free books for thousands of underprivileged children. I feel very honoured and blessed to be part of that project, which will be bringing books to children less fortunate. This year, I was honoured to have been invited to be one of the very first VIP thought leaders in the Finding Your Voice Network community group and digital magazine. I like to encourage and inspire others to share their voice through their story or knowledge so that they can help other people. I'm a proud member of the GST team. Despite my confident exterior, I used to worry for days and hours before public speaking when it was in front of a camera for some reason. So to face my fear, I jumped in to host the Be Fearless live weekly podcast for GST. They do say face your fears and just go for it. And that's what I did. And I would credit hosting that, the podcast guests that I got ideas from, and the support of the whole GST family for helping me to get rid of those crippling nerves. They were just not a normal kind of nerve that you would feel. We all feel a certain amount of fear, but mine was very excessive. So thanks to GST, I'm living life much more fearlessly every time I go live. So I'm very passionate about what we do here. And with that, I am going to say that I am very excited right now to be introducing our very first speaker today. And our very first speaker today, I've just put the speaker view on. Hold on just a second. Our very first speaker today is coming up right now. Who's our very first speaker today? Unmute yourself. Let's have you. And I'm going to share with everybody about you on our wonderful... Oh, see, it's not shared again. It's not shared. Hold on a minute. Technical problem, my friends. Let me just go ahead and see if this is what I want to share. Yes, fantastic. Ooh, text on my side today. All right, let's click this one. Here he is, and he's up there in the corner, Allan. He's been up there looking at you, listening to you so far. Allan is based in Montreal, Canada, and he is a creator of an assertive confidence program. His original hometown is where he's now gone back to, but he lived in Vancouver for 25 years. And he is the creator of Zen Zone Mindset, Assertive Confidence and Soulmate Revolution programs. His dream in life was to create a practical and transformational personal development system that would go beyond raw motivation and reading books. He wanted to create a fast track inner fitness and communication mastery system. And thus, Allan recently developed a certified training program for those that would love to be a coach, but don't already have a program. So in 60 to 90 days, his clients get to a high level of inner peace, calm, self-confidence, and they begin to communicate with more clarity, confidence, and impact. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to the stage, Allan Knight.
Thank you very much, Lisa. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. I'm so looking forward to hearing you today.
To show you that as you were saying, I'm going to choose one person, Mr. Allan Knight, who's supposed to be assertively confident, saying, not me, I don't want to go first. I don't want to go first. I'm too shy. So here we are. So do I just rip it for 15 minutes, or do you ask questions?
I would like you to go for it. I'm all ears. We're all ears. Take it away, Allan.
Okay, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you to Anshu for spending about an hour with me about a month ago. She's a terrific person, and so it's a big honor. And I hope that whatever I say here today might have some little impact on somebody out there. In a nutshell, I know that the focus is how I use social media. What is uniquely about how I've used it over the years that has impacted my business? And that's what I'm going to share with you. And I guess the way I would describe what I'm going to talk about today is a kind of a secret weapon that a lot of people are not, I don't like to use the word weapon, that a lot of people are not using when it comes to social media. Obviously, I'm a lot older than most of you, So as I was growing up, we didn't have access to the internet, we didn't have social media. And so we had to rely on our day-by-day listening skills, relationship building skills, communication, boldness, assertive, knocking on doors, making phone calls, being telemarketing, whatever it be. And so we were forced in a way to rely on our down-to-earth interpersonal skills. Then along came social media, which for some people, like especially the older generation, I think, it took it by storm and a lot of people were overwhelmed by it. But we would all agree that social media, for many, many reasons, is a wonderful technology that, if used properly, could make a huge difference in both our business lives and in our personal lives. So, but I'm not a techie by nature, and it's been a pain in the ass, even though I've been a coach for over 30 years. And then when COVID hit, I asked myself, because I was using Facebook, a little bit of LinkedIn, but mostly Facebook, and I thought, I have these so-called 5,000 friends on Facebook that are not really friends. And now I'm not able to do live events. I'm not meeting people one-to-one. What can I do to make it a bit more personal? So what I want to talk about in this short period of time, and I'm going to kind of rush through it a little bit, so sorry for that, is I'm going to divide this into 3 categories: communication, action, and motivation. And when I say motivation, I really mean inner power, self-mastery. In other words, every day we need to communicate with people, both in our business and personal life. And so the question then becomes, how effectively are we communicating? So we need to communicate, and there's different ways to communicate. We're communicating verbally online now. We might write blogs, we might write a letter, an email, whatever. So there's all forms of communicating with other people. But as a communication coach for many, many years, I learned that only maybe 10, 15, 20% of communication relies on content and technique. 80% relies on what oozes out from inside us. Now, social media has dramatically changed things because we can do all kinds of fancy things online. But at the end of the day, most of us still need to come back to speak to a human being, speak to a group, network to some degree. So when I looked at what I'm going to do a little differently on Facebook, I came up with a kind of a method that I've been using highly successfully for the last number of years, to the point where I still do it to this day, even though I'm scaling my business in a number of ways. So I'm going to go over the 3 things. We're going to start with communication. What I've done on Facebook, you could do on LinkedIn, you could do on other social media platforms, but I'm going to focus on Facebook. Because I had all these people that were not friends, I would go to where it says find friends on my profile page, my regular page, and then I would click on the button where it says find friends, and then popped up about 25, 30 people, and I was able to look at their profile. And quickly, by looking at their profile, I was able to see whether this could be a person that not just become a client per se, but is this somebody I wanted to really connect with that would be very valuable, because I focus on the connection, not trying to sell something so quickly, which is a bit of the old style, to combine the new style of social media with the interpersonal skills. I can't believe how many people say, oh, thank God, Allan, the reason I responded to you is you weren't trying to sell me something so quickly. So I would reach out, I would add about 20, 30 people, request 20, 30 new people every day. And a whole bunch of people would come back and accept it. What I did secondarily, as a step-by-step building process, I put on my audio little machiney thing on my laptop. And no, sorry about that. That's not true. What I would do is text them back if they accepted me. I would say, thank you so much for connecting. And then they come back. And then step by step, I would be able to say to them, hey, thank you for responding. Just wanted you to know that I'm kind of reaching out to like-minded individuals on Facebook to see how we might mutually support each other or simply connect. I leave it open because we don't know what's going to come of the relationship. A little bit about myself. I'm a former Zen monk, creator of the Assertive Confidence programs, as well as the Soulmate Revolution. Would love to know more about what you do. So I would send that little audio message on my messenger on my laptop. Then inevitably, a lot of people would come back to me, thank you for sharing, sounds really interesting, or they might also decide to write, send me a little audio. So whether it's audio or written, they come back to me. And then I come back to them with another audio and I say, hey, that's really exciting what you do. Would love to know more about it. If you're open to it, maybe we can schedule a brief Zoom call and go into more depth with what you do, I do, and see and take it from there. And many of them responded in the affirmative. And I can't even begin to tell you the blessings and the benefits that just doing that and doing these Zoom calls have been over the years. Hey, this is an example of what I did the same thing with Anshu. Either she reached out to me, and I think probably more likely I reached out to her. So having reached out to her, guess what? It's not whether she becomes a client or I become a client. It's about, hey, who are you? Tell me more about you. They'll ask me about me. And then we say, after having this fantastic initial conversation, how can we be of help to each other? Oh, do you want me to promote something on my social media? I'm happy to do that. Oh, would you like to interview me, or I'd like to interview you and we'll post a video? Oh, you know someone that might need my help. I have a referral fee, by the way, an affiliate fee. Do you want to collaborate in this way because you write books and teach people about books, and I teach people how to have confidence? Maybe we could do a little podcast together. It could be anything. And so many wonderful things have come from that. So the communication part I just described to you, that's one really key element. Second key element is action. So there's MAC, M for self-mastery, motivation, A for action and accountability, C for communication. So if you really want to stand out from the crowd, it's not about having this little method that I just spoke to you about. You need to act on it every day. That's where discipline comes in. That's where focus comes in. That's where the willingness to do the little things every day come in. So in terms of actions that I've done over the years with this methodology, is every day I would eliminate 10 or 20 people from my Facebook friends. Why? Because I'd go back and see a month later, I'd look at different names, check the messages, and I reached out to them. They never responded. Or they might have responded, then I reached back out to them and they didn't respond. So I just eliminate them. Then I add 10 or 20 every day. So I'm replenishing my list of so-called friends that are not friends with more and more quality people in my life. Not necessarily all of them clients or potential clients, some might be, but so much bigger than that. So the action part is very important, that you take consistent action and do the little things every day. And a lot of people don't find that sexy to do that. But when I was 19, I was a telemarketer, and I learned the importance of making phone calls, doing more and more calls, and overcoming procrastination. The third is the real magic weapon that most people are not at that level. As I said, I was a Zen monk for 9 years of my life. I came close to dying in a number of times in my life, and I became open to self-development, became a Zen monk until I missed women too much, and I left the monastery. And when I went back into society, I started to coach and train. And I said, hey, there's something wrong here, because the more people I was coaching and asked them what they've done for their self-development, many of them had admitted to me that they had spent $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000 on self-development. But still, when I did my assessment, many of them still procrastinated, still had a hyperactive mind, social anxiety, and the list goes on. And I realized that raw seminars are great, and I'm not criticizing any of them. They're all wonderful. Life coaching is great. Counseling is great. Reading books is great to become aware. But unless you take that awareness into consistent action, into emotional fed-upness with mediocrity, and then take your communication skills out at a high level, you're not going to experience the extraordinary results that you're really looking for. So my goal was to set out and create a kind of a real transformational practical system, so that works on getting to a high level of inner power, that inner vibe. So for example, you're looking for a soulmate. The soulmate starts with your inner soulmate first. So you want to create that vibe, that energy, that passion, and that enthusiasm on a consistent basis. So if you have the inner power going, if you got your mindset, everyone talks about mindset, it's not just mindset, it's more than that. Your mind, your emotion, your action, your intuition, your communication, it's a holistic approach. If you're living day to day with that inner power and then ripple it into your action and accountability with the discipline that I talked about, and then ultimately communicate, whether we're communicating here or you're doing it one-to-one, or you're doing it on a blog, or you're doing it in a Zoom call you're having. If you do all those three things along with the marketing strategies that you have with your SEO and your social media management, that is the ultimate. You're releasing your full potential. So I have found that by using this simple system on Facebook, that it has dramatically impacted my business in a way that I could never have imagined. And I'm very grateful for that. Now, I have no idea how much time I have left or not, but I'll stop there if you want to ask a question or you want me to go in another direction. I think I will be quiet.
Thank you so much, Allan. You do have just a few minutes left. If anyone has any questions, we will do questions at the end as well for everybody. But has anyone got any questions? And Allan can share with us his last few minutes. We've not had any questions in the Facebook. I think that most people are just enjoying listening to you. I picked up some things that was so interesting about you said. I mean, the word consistency came up a lot in what you said, and it really is a key, isn't it, to so many things. I love the way you talked about inner power as well. You know, start with that.
Well, it starts with that, because when you look at the quality of relationships that people have out there, there's so many people, and all I hear all day from people that I talk to are narcissism, dysfunctional relationships, and so on. Very few people have a high level soulmate quality relationship, but again, it starts with the inner soulmate. So even if two people fall in love, for example, and they have a honeymoon phase, and then guess what? All the crap starts to come out. And before you know it, there are 2 kids, 3 kids, and ready to divorce or worse. So it's crucial that we learn to accept, love, and adore ourselves first as a foundation for great communication and relationships, be it business or personal, for sure.
And certainly your tips about, you know, joining new people into your network, into your world all the time, and going back and reviewing the old ones is certainly a great strategy for keeping new leads, if you like, coming into your life. But I like the way that you take it all from that point of connection, which is what we should all be doing. It's all about people. Everything we do, we need people, right?
Well, if we don't have that approach, then it becomes a number game. Now, you could go and make a lot of money on social media and make it into a money game if you want. But at the end of the day, we can't hide. We come out, we want to be respected and appreciated. And it's not just about making money. And it's about, and I find that I'd rather make less money and have more quality communication with people that I really love working with and impacting, whether I'm their client or they're my client, than make a lot more money and feel in my heart that I'm doing this in an opportunistic way. It doesn't make me feel good. So I call this a heart-centered approach to communication communicate from the inside out.
And I think we completely got that from you, Allan. I think it was wonderful of you to share what you did today. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for listening.
Hopefully we'll get some questions built up that we can share with you at the end. But thank you, Allan, for your contribution today. Now we're going to move on to our next speaker. We have welcoming the next speaker. Let me just pop my screen up so I can share with you. It is going to be the lovely Debbie Crouch, and she is a digital creator. She's actually a creative and wellness expert, an artist and author. She's based in a village near Penistone, Sheffield, in South Yorkshire in the UK. And when she learned to draw and paint for wellness as an adult, she gained a lot of confidence and took a new direction in her life. And Debbie's business, Creative Wellness Journey, CIC, offers a safe environment through its Art for Wellness projects. It's for people looking to join a creative community to learn how to express themselves through their art. Art for Wellness offers members online resources for beginners and creatives to learn new skills, improve their confidence, and build friendships in a community hub, offering a space to help people discover their own pathway and unique style, moving forward one step at a time. So Debbie, I'm really excited to give you the floor, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you share. You and I have a lot in common, and I'm really looking forward to connecting more and possibly even working together in the future. So this is Debbie, everybody.
Hello, I'm really excited to join today. Thank you very much for inviting me. As I said, my name is Debbie and I'm a creative recovery coach, artist and author. And just to give you a little bit about my story, it started when I was on my own personal wellbeing journey, where I actually learned to draw and paint for wellness as an adult. And I found that this actually did give me a new direction in life. And I decided that this was my passion. This was something that I felt I could really make a difference. It gave me confidence. It gave me back the person that I was, and it's just something that I'm really passionate about. So I'm just going to start by saying one of the first things that I learned really is in building your own brand on social media, you need to make yourself present. You need to make yourself known. People need to know about you. Now, for me, this was a really difficult thing to begin with. And if you'd have known me 12 months ago, I would never have thought that I would have been able to come and do a live. So some of the things that I've learned is that you need to find clarity, first of all, in who you are. So make a list of your skills or your life experiences, things that are valuable to you. So for example, when I say, my name is Debbie, I'm a creative recovery coach, artist and author. This is actually explaining to people who I am and what it is that I do. And then the next thing to look at really is who you're offering your services to. So who are the people that you want to work with? What are they looking for? How are you actually going to solve their issues and concerns? For example, are they looking for a safe space to learn, a community of friendly people, support and encouragement, somewhere that's non-judgmental, or people who understand about well-being and wellness? So that's why in my statement, I would then say, I help people to discover their true selves through expressing themselves through learning art for wellness. And then the next is to confirm how you know that you can actually offer that. So it just needs to be a brief sentence confirming what you know, what your knowledge is, or what your experience is. So how do I know that? Because I've been there and I've found my true self with a passion for sharing art for wellness. Keep it simple and keep it easy and natural, and say it in your own language and your own words. Don't feel that you have to say it in any other way than the person that you are. So I design easy art for beginners, and I love to see people that get their power back and to let go of their exhaustion and stress. So be clear in your message and repeat it to yourself. And one of the things that I had to do initially was to look at myself in the mirror and say it out loud, just as if I'm talking to that person, to say who I am, what I do, what benefits I can give to you. So, and even if you just record yourself on your phone and just get used to talking and listening to yourself, so that when you actually say your statement, it's simple, it's true, and it's you. It's the person that you are. So sometimes people might ask to me, well, what is a recovery coach? And my response would be, through attending CCAR training to become a creative recovery coach in 2021 with Recovery Coach Academy, this now gives me the opportunity to spread hope and support in the wider community through Art for Wellness, through the tutorials, the community group and the activities. Or I might say something like, my business Creative Wellness Journey CIC offers a safe environment through its Art for Wellness programmes. Art for Wellness offers online resources for beginners and creatives to learn new skills, improve their confidence, build friendships in a community hub. And it's letting people know that you are there to help them with whatever may be of concern to them. So part of my story is that I really love doing art journaling. It may have started off right at the beginning where I got a packet of crayons and a colouring book and started colouring in. But I realised that during that time of doing that, all of a sudden I felt relaxed. I felt that I was doing something for myself. So it's looking at things like colouring in to calm down, or spending time just being in the moment, and doing something that's just for you. And really, it's about being kind to yourself and realising that you have the choice of saying that I am important, that I deserve to have time for myself. Because for me, journals help to develop emotional awareness, whether it is colouring, scribbling, writing, drawing. There's so many things. And just spending 10 minutes a day reconnecting with yourself through sketching and writing. And in fact, I'm quite proud of my achievements last year, because it's actually led me to write some of my own journals aimed at beginners, children and adults. So there's like the Little Journal of Hope, which is to start people off thinking about what it is that they want, what do they enjoy doing. There's like A to Z art journaling, which came from an idea whereby in my group I used to do prompts. So people would say to me, I'd like a prompt to start me off drawing or colouring or whatever it was I wanted to do. So I did one for each of the letters. And then I thought, maybe I can put that into a journal. So I did. And then in the journal, there's a space for people to just write words down, or to draw a picture or colour in. And then there's also a fun one which is called Scribble and Sketch. And that's aimed at children. So because they can actually benefit from doing journaling. Well, I think it's like mindfulness, really. So my actual Art for Wellness group is on Facebook, and it's a private group. It's a safe environment where people have come together, they've shared ideas, they've shared creativity, or sometimes they've just come to have a look at what's on there, and that's quite all right. I wanted to be able to give something that was there for everyone. And it started in COVID, really, where it was just an idea where I thought, right, I'll start up a Facebook group because I wanted to be able to share with other people how much I enjoyed doing art. But unbeknown to me, in 6 months, it grew to over 10,000 people worldwide. And this was like a huge, confidence. I just never thought that would happen. And it's only a conversation with a friend who said to me, had you thought about going in business? And my first reaction was, business? I can't do business. But through having proper mentoring, support and encouragement, I did set up Creative Wellness Journey CIC and the Art for Wellness programmes. So I hope whatever I've said today has been of interest, or that even if you found one spark that may help you in the future. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, and that's me for now.
Debbie, it's been a pleasure to listen to you. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your personal journey with building your own business and your brand for your Art for Wellness. It's a great idea. It's right where my heart is too. So I was listening very intently. And I think that a lot of people will have got a lot from what you've said, because you've said yourself that you didn't like to talk in front of the camera, and you thought, gosh, how am I going to get on here? You said you couldn't have imagined it this time last year or whatever. So congratulations to you. And I think that will resonate with people, that you can do anything you want if you just practice. And I loved what you suggested about just telling people to get used to talking to yourself and sharing that your statement over and over till it just feels natural, it just feels confident. I think that's really great advice. Is there any other big tips that you would say if you could go back and think, right, what was the biggest thing when I was building my brand and getting myself out there? What was really important? I picked up about community, that building a strong community was really important, and because I think people really like that, don't they, like you said?
They do, yeah. And to me it's like a heart-centered community. It was done just from wanting to help each other and nothing other than that. Because in the group, not only did I share out, but I shared things like positive affirmations or funny jokes or anything that would bring people together. And I think it's just building that relationship with other people, and they trust you because you know that what you're offering is genuine. And yes.
That's a big tip again, just there, is just be yourself, isn't it? Be genuine, be authentic, be prepared to make mistakes, to not mind. I think this sometimes stops people from being visible, doesn't it? We worry so much about, people accepting us for who we are, but just go for it, right? And you did, and look, you built your brand. So I think you've given some great tips for today. Thank you so much, Debbie. I'm so glad that you're with us. We're going to move on to our next speaker now, and I'm sure people will have questions for you at the end. Thank you so much. I'm going to share with you our next speaker coming up, and that is going to be, we're going to have Anna up next, and there's a theme running on today. There's definitely an artistic theme going on in the group, because Anna Morrallee is actually a certified Neurographica instructor. She's based in England, and she has created her online Neurographica school, which she started in April 2022. Since then, she's managed to launch 3 successful certified programs, a VIP membership club, and a variety of interactive workshops. I've actually personally taken one of her free workshops. I highly recommend it. Neurographica School is an international client base, and all courses are based on high student engagement and meaningful interactions. Anna builds more than just courses. She builds communities of like-minded, soulful women. And without further ado, I'm really proud to present to you Anna to the stage today to share with us about how she made her personal brand on social media.
Hi, thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to this global summit. So far, I've been really happy to listen to other speakers. Big heart to Debbie as well. I feel like we're in the same boat. Recently, I've been using like a tagline that I'm providing wellness through creativity. So kind of a lot of crossover there, because we also draw together with my clients, and it's a mindful process where you set up to either cope with anxiety or stress, express and process the difficult emotions. A lot of people, even in their like 50s and 60s, just starting to learn how to process difficult emotions, how to deal with trauma. And that's why I love being an instructor so much. So my story starts as well. I think I was always drawn to teaching people, and I actually trained to be a teacher when I was just straight after school, and then life took me on a very different road. And just prior to going full time with my business, I worked as insights analyst for insurance company. So the whole switch into leading social media and doing that again was a kind of a big personal barrier, because I worked with social media and data from a very different perspective. I was an investigator who, looking at other people's social media for different purposes. So for me, it was a big step to overcome that. And I think many people would relate that, especially if you haven't used social media for yourself, like I haven't. Like for 10 years, I didn't have or active Facebook or active Instagram, and then you have to kind of really step out of your comfort zone and get into there. I think the first thing I was thinking, well, is it safe? And the second thing I was thinking, you know, how people perceive it, you know, are they going to think that I'm vain, or, you know, is it shallow because I'm going to be now on social media all the time? So I had to really work on my mindset, to reframe that I'm not doing it for me to show, you know, how wonderful I am, but I am using social media as an opportunity to connect with other people, as an opportunity to share who I am, and for the audience to find me and get in touch with me. So that really helped to start just doing it little by little. And I, you know, as a first step, and for those who are just starting out, go to the platform that you're most comfortable with first. So Facebook, I was more comfortable with first, so I created a group, like my community Neurographica group, and then I started promoting and building the community there. And after I got comfortable with the first platform, then I moved to Instagram as well and start doing both. So I think that is kind of an important thing. If that is a new skill, don't try to do all the channels all at the same time, comfortable with things that you know, and then slowly kind of getting more and more things going. The other thing I would say, when you try to build your brand on social media, it's important to provide value to people, and most importantly, to be your real self. You've got to share your vulnerabilities. And I know lots of people trying to be perfect or want to be perfect on camera, as and they deliver courses, but that could be actually your worst enemy, because you know what people actually want to see, that you're a real human, that you have, you know, something that you might not be comfortable with, that, you know, sometimes you stutter or you forget words, and then you might share a little bit of things that are going on in your personal life, so they can be part of your journey. So when I deliver my classes or having an open webinar, I always try to share a real story about myself, whether that from the past or from my present, so they can actually see, okay, well, yeah, I can relate to that. There is a problem, she resolved it, or she's still going through that. So that would be kind of my advice. Like, try not to be perfect, and just go with what it is, who you are, and then you'll find that no matter, you know, how you do it, you're going to find your people. You're going to find the people who are your biggest fans, who enjoy your voice, who enjoy how you speak, how you wave hands, or you know, whatever you do there. And you know, I agree in terms of the community. For example, when I interact with people in my group, one of the things that I started doing kind of later on, when I realized the potential of the group and how it's really need to be done properly, I used to just accept people automatically to start with, but now I actually have a process where I can approve people manually. That gives me an opportunity also just to say a quick message to say, hello, welcome to the group. I'm your Neurographica instructor. Let me know if you have any questions, if you want me to send you some, you know, further information, you know, point you to the resources. So I agree, this is a great way to connect to people. So it's just a different approach. You could do it for your personal profile and send friend requests, or if you have a group community on Facebook or even on Instagram, you know, when people follow you, you can always say hi. And that, again, something that I came through recently. I start sending thank yous to every, you know, like, to every comment, and actually saying hi to people who connect with me, just so I can see if there is a potential for interaction, if there are any questions. And I'm always interested to know whether people have heard about Neurographica, because it's kind of a new modality, and getting that interaction going. And what I love about it, and you know, the social media in general, the opportunities in terms of global reach. I've never spoken with people from so many different backgrounds. I've got people that speak from India, Indonesia, Canada, US, Poland, Romania, and I feel really blessed that I'm able just to reach so many people. And when we get live, and all my students, I think I've got kind of like a selection from each country, and I think people get really, really excited about the fact that you could learn and connect to people from so many different backgrounds, but still as humans we have the same problems. That no matter whether you're in Canada, the UK or Romania, you know, women struggle with emotions, women being traumatized in the childhood, or they you know, suffering with anger or anxiety, no matter age, no matter race, and you really feel like you belong somewhere. So that kind of my quick intro about social media. I'm no expert, and I'm still learning about it every day as I go. But yeah, I think my biggest revelation is about being yourself and allowing other people a bit into your world.
Thank you so much, Anna. I think what's so interesting is what you just said there at the very end about being, you know, you say you're no expert and you're still going on that journey. That's why I think what you have to say is really powerful, because you're actually going through it now, and you can say these things have just happened to you and they worked. And I think people listening will be able to say, oh yeah, you know, I can see that I can do that. I noticed with you talking about the connections, I think that's a really important thing that you said about, you know, when people reach out to follow you or connect with you, you send them a message to make that first point of contact. Like Allan was talking about communication being so important. You know, Debbie was talking about community. It all comes down to people, you know, the people and us, and how we connect with them, how we relate to them. And in finding those people, what you said, which was brilliant, was that they'll find you.
Yeah, they do find you. And yeah, when you generate some activity, and then another thing is having the momentum, which is very, very challenging, especially not particularly organized and you don't have your like a content plan for weeks. So if you're a bit like me, which I am a bit sporadic, and I know if I'm having a good week and having a momentum, you know, posting my stories and having my reels, and it kind of goes like a snowball. The more you do, the more activity you get, the more people get to see you. And exactly, this is the whole point. People get to see you, and if they see you and they interested in what you've got to say or to offer, and they see the connection, it's very much on the personal level. There is no rhyme or reason. We just either like people or we don't. And yeah, social media just give you that opportunity to put yourself in front of your potential customer, follower, collaborator. And like you said, and like Allan said, it's not always about getting a customer. A lot of my interactions that I've had was about something else, was about mutual help, mutual share, mutual project. And yeah, meeting just really amazing, fantastic and creative people.
That's so great. I actually noticed. Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything. Keep going.
Oh, sorry. You know what it was? I got thrown because I'm looking at the Facebook thread coming through, see if there's any questions, and it caught my eye just as you were finishing talking that a customer of yours, a client, has come on. Deb has said, Anna made me feel comfortable from the start. Her honesty, vulnerability, and simply being real allowed me to connect with her and feel comfortable myself being vulnerable. And I think that's an important thing that we share here today in the summit, you know, that we share that is the power of being yourself, and what you've done in creating that that social media brand of being authentic, like we've all mentioned. So congratulations to you, and thank you for sharing all of that, and sharing your journey with building your social media. And I hope it continues to go from strength to strength. Anna, thank you for being here today, and look forward to some questions at the end. At this time, though, we are going to go to our next speaker, who is April. And April is coming to us. Oh, I had a feeling that might not come out right. Sorry, something's going wrong with my tech again, my friends. Forgive me. Let me see if I can get it to come up. There we go. You all got a glimpse of my messy desktop. That was fun, wasn't it? So anyway, this is April Ballestero, and she is an author and leadership coach. She's the founder of One Light Ahead, a service of One Light Academy Incorporated. She's also the author of Slaying the Onion book and the facilitator of Living Unlayered retreats. With 2 decades of coaching experience, April knows exactly how to help leaders to achieve their full potential and become more effective, more energized, and more enthusiastic in their interactions with their teams, clients, families, and communities. And there you can see at the bottom is her website where you can find her. And April is going to share with us on the stage today about how she uses social media, how she has built her personal brand on social media. Forgive me.
Well, thank you, Lisa. It's a gift to be here and the whole global experience. And I will tell you, I related immensely with Allan right off the bat of the knocking on doors, making calls, etc., and learning that social media, the way social media was explained to me at the very beginning is Facebook is like a backyard barbecue, and LinkedIn is like a network experience such as a BNI or some type of global experience like that. And some of you might know that YouTube has a beautiful gift of shorts now because they're working to compete with TikTok. So there's all kinds of different options available on social media. Yet what I want to speak to you today, and Debbie, I'm a big advocate of everything that you are experiencing and inspiring in many people. And Anna, as a neurocognitive remodeling technologist, I so relate with your neurology. So having experience in a multitude of assessments, leadership tools, getting to speak. I've ran podcasts. I have a book, as Lisa mentioned, called Slaying the Onion. It is all about the layers. And as Allan talked about, the power of living from inside out. And so we have the concept of a brave leader. Yeah, what I want to speak to you today about is the 3 M's of building your social media. And I will share a PDF at the end for anyone to use and integrate into their business, because we are all about building bridges. And on chapter 5 of our book is a whole chapter about building bridges, and we use a whole and brave framework for that. Yet I want to bring it all the way back to my early days in my coaching career when I was just in one office. Now I go across the country. So it's a whole different experience from many years ago. Yet I said to a client, I said, I want to touch 1 million lives a year. And he's like, how are you going to do that? I said, well, you know 10 people, and those people know 10 people, and those people know 10 people. And guess what? It multiplies across the country. And so sometimes we get hung up in the concept of getting, well, I just need to touch one person, or as Allan said, 20 people. I'd invite you all to think it just a tad bit bigger today. And so we have the hashtag 1,000,000 bridges because we are on fire to track, because that's one of the aspects of the 3 M's, and I'll explain all that as we move along. So the first M is the meaning. What's the meaning of 1,000,000 bridges? What's the purpose of creating that brand? And I get to brand myself as an individual, as an author. I also get to brand a company and an academy that is international. And we are partnering with coaches that have all their own expertise so that we could help each individual find the people that are the right fit for them. And what's that meaning of bridges? So one person like Lisa brought all of us together, and she created a multitude of bridges and all of our communities of bridges. She's reaching 100 people at least today in the aspect of opening a platform for all of us to share our message. So the meaning that she brought to the table is, I want to help you all find your inner voice. I want to help in the Global Speakers Association or talk. I want to help you find your inner voice. Well, in our meeting in the One Light Ahead concept was, it's a light bulb moment at a time. When you have that aha, and that all of a sudden that light bulb goes off, I understand what you meant. And the minute I shared to that gentleman, I said, I want to touch 1,000,000 lives. He's like, that's going to be interesting. Well, that same young man who is now a teacher, instructor, and individual touching 1,000,000 lives is recording a video every week, touching at least 100 people a week. That was many years ago. And I can tell you there's hundreds of more people just like that. But I want to dig in one more thought into that meaning before we move into the message part. When we built the One Light Ahead some of you might have logos, and you really thought about your logo, right? There was an immense meaning that was put into that logo. In the many years that I have gotten the pleasure to be a author, speaker, facilitator, etc., our logos evolved 3 times. Our website's probably evolved 15 times. Our social media is probably evolved a multitude of times in that. And the reason that it evolved is that we grew. So when I first started, our logo was a traffic light, and the concept of, well, when you get the green light to start your life, then you sometimes have wake up moments, as my son would say, and you get the yellow light. And recently my son had one of those. He had a rollover accident. And I literally put that picture of his car upside down on social media. And boy, did that create some interesting conversation. Because as Anna said, we get to be authentic and share what life happens, and it catches us off guard. And so those are moments that we get to connect with people, and we see our community come up and rise up with us and feel the meaning that we implied with just one picture. And by the way, one picture has a ridiculous amount of opportunity to share meaning. So our opportunity is also to understand that when we share those meanings and we have the gift to inspire and invite people into our world, that before we get the red light of no longer having the opportunity to use our inner voice, that was the next stage of our phase. So when we grew our company, we actually moved into a world logo. And then we eventually now have a center whole circle with a multitude of circles all around it. So in our brand, we actually have the opportunity, because we want to reach those million bridges. And we have that whole and brave perspective, which is a whole nother conversation. Yet to get to the point of the meaning is that we choose to live from the inside out. We talk about living unlayered because we get to be brave leaders. And inviting people into those million bridges is inviting them to have that brave experience, which means that we have a message to portray. We have the opportunity to take our meaning into our message. So you'll notice that in what we shared for today was very concise, and we are purposeful about being concise, because as one of my speaking coaches taught me many years ago, he says, would you put your automatic rifle away? He says, you're killing your audience. You need to be very specific in what you're speaking about, and understanding that the message needs to be aligned with your point. And our point today is how do we brand our social media to our personal self, as well as how we want to create our meaning and our message across the globe. And so as we choose our logo, as we choose our posts, as we choose our videos, as we choose what voice we use, what language we use, we are creating invitations of bridges. And sometimes we'll say something that could offend somebody, and we could shut down a bridge and not actually open up the invitation. So we get to be very purposeful and understand our community, who our ideal client is, who our ideal voice, who will hear our voice, what perceptions they'll bring to the table when they're listening to us. Those are all key pieces to consider when you're building your brand, because more often than not, as I said, I had to learn to put my automatic rifle away, and I had to learn how to be very concise and who are the leaders I want to attract. And those are the people that are willing to unlayer. Those are the people that, as Anna talked about, that are willing to not be perfect and to understand they don't need to be perfect. They need to be authentic, and they want to build trust with each other, because trust is a gift, and it can either be given or it can be earned, usually both. And so our social brand is how we are building trust with our community, how we are connecting and how we are growing and inviting them into those bridges, which causes us to create. So the message is concise. The message is purposeful. It's aligned with who you're looking to attract. And so the brave leaders that we're looking to attract are the people that want to be who they choose to be, responsible for who they want to attract, that align with the values and experiences they want to create. We are on fire to build and inspire a million bridges of brave leaders on purpose. And we invite people into that movement, the 3 M's, meaning, message, movement. Our movement is attracting people to align with us with that hashtag, a million bridges, because in our movements, we can hold ourselves accountable to measure what we are actually doing. And that's also something Allan brought up, is the gift of understanding that if we're not in action and we're not choosing to be purposeful in tracking what's working, what's not working, and adapting that. So many, many years ago, I started a Possibility Monday video. I've been doing that. I cannot tell you how many Mondays now, because I wasn't always tracking it. But I can tell you it's been almost every Monday for 12 years. That's a few Mondays. A few Mondays. And it's a simple little question. Whatever idea has come up for the week. And now I actually have learned to track them, as Anna talked about the marketing plan. I actually have built out the messages and meanings that I want to imply in every Monday. And on Mondays, the question is, so how are you being a brave leader, was a recent Monday question. So we're aligning with our meaning, aligning with our message, and inviting people into the conversation. One of my clients shared that and invited other people to do that as well. We invite people. That is a word I will use over and over again. We invite people into our meaning, our message, and our movement to build our social media brand. That's simple.
It really is that simple. I love that, April. The aligning with your meaning, aligning with your message, and inviting people into your movement. Just brilliant, because it is that simple, isn't it? But like you explained, you had to find yourself making things a lot more concise. It's a skill, it's a practice, it's being really aware, isn't it? And being able to do that, and it takes time. And 12 years, you know, putting out those Monday messages, that's just fantastic. We're so grateful that you are here to share with us all of this today, because very strong, powerful message coming from you. And what I loved about what you shared as well is the fact of the movement, that we're always moving, aren't we? As people, we don't stand still. Our website's always a work in progress. It's never going to actually be finished, because we're always tweaking it. And that's the way it should be, because we're always moving. And so people shouldn't feel things are set in stone with their logo, etc. Yes, sorry. What did you want to say, Allan?
Do we have a quick second for an acknowledgement?
Absolutely.
I just want to acknowledge April for, first of all, your presentation was fantastic. But separate from that, in one thing you said had a profound impact on me that I think it would be good for all of you to know, is that you helped me to overcome something that has been a problem in my mind for many, many years. Is that often people would criticize me, friends of mine, people that know me said, Allan, how come you're not at the Tony Robbins level, you know, of success and notoriety? You got all these skills. And I used to beat myself up, and maybe still do a little bit, for not having had more impact than I've had. And you made me realize it's not necessarily the quantity. I thought back of someone I trained and coached 15 years ago that had a lisp, and I helped him overcome that, and he became a Dale Carnegie trainer. Perhaps he's traveling the world training people. And I never thought of how, hey, I had an impact on that. And if I had an impact on him, I've certainly trained thousands of other people. And why am I beating myself up? The ripple effect is more important than the ego saying that I've reached so many people. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing the ripple effect. I love that. And I'm sure that April, you know, I know that Allan and I are not the only ones that you've touched there today with your message. Very powerful. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would be able to say to people that you think could, one thing that stands out that you think could help them if they were just starting out to build their brand?
Well, and in that PDF, I asked questions and, you know, how are you assessing where you're at? And Allan, what a beautiful gift of sharing, thinking back, because so often, and we're actually going to start a Instagram contest for one of our events. And I realized just this morning, I need to ask people to nominate somebody. We have what we call a personally chosen option. So at the end of each of our retreats, they get to personally choose people to participate, because we do deep dive. As Anna knows, that the neurology aspect is a commitment. It's not something you just dive in and say, I'm ready for it. So our audience is very unique, and you have to be willing to do the kind of work we do. So I would say, assessing who your ideal client is and assessing who you're looking to reach is one of the biggest pieces first. Because when you're brand new starting, and I tell people all the time, let me save you 10 plus years. I've learned a lot if you're willing to listen. And more often than not, one of my mentors years ago said, whether you like it or not, most people just have to go learn the hard way. And very few people will actually listen. So we just, the gift I get to tell people is I plant seeds and I trust that they decide what they're going to do with the seed.
I love it. Planting seeds and letting everybody else watch it grow and nurture it. Brilliant. Thank you, April. So glad to have you here. Thank you so much for those insights and those strategies to help people. And we now have our next speaker who is coming up to the stage. Oh, what's happened again? I think my share has gone wrong again. Sorry, friends. I'm having some tech issues today, it appears. Don't really know why, but apologies for that. Here is, I've got to share it. Sorry, friends, here it comes. Okay, I'm sharing. Can you all see my screen? If you can just, oh yeah, it's telling me you can. Brilliant. So it's Milliam Ngwira is next, and she's a keynote speaker, and she is a founder of a company called Fly High Company, which is transforming people's lives. She is a life coach and a life transformational speaker. And Milliam is also the founder of a company called Brand Builders. She helps companies, organizations, films, schools, and people build their brand. And Milliam is also a professional graphic designer, and her graphic designing is trusted by people across the globe. She's a pastor by calling, and she's serving with the Malawi Assemblies of God Church, and she's also a teacher professionally. She's been teaching in the government for 10 years. And with this experience, she normally conducts training opportunities for teachers and students with study skills and examination tips. As a speaker, Milliam has been speaking on different platforms in Malawi, Ghana, Zambia, Eswatini, and Nigeria, amongst other countries. She's self-motivated, focused, determined, creative, hard-working woman. And she is one of the board of trustees for Elizabeth International in Malawi. And I am really looking forward to hearing what she has to say about building her brand. So welcome to the stage, Milliam.
Very much. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Could you turn your volume up slightly so we can hear you? You're very quiet. Thank you.
All right. I hope you can hear me well.
Oh, much better. You can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Yeah, it's really a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. Here it's almost 5 p.m. Yeah, so it's really a very good pleasure. And anyway, let me say this, it's like a dream coming true to be among you global icons. It's really, really a pleasure. Yeah, as you have already introduced me, I'm Milliam Ngwira from Malawi. I really love my country, a small country somewhere in Africa. Yeah, so as our topic is saying, how to make your personal brand on social media. I started social media myself some years ago, it may be 10 years ago, where I started the social media thing. At first, it was just like everyone is doing it, just normal being on social media, until I learned to say, I can still build my brand. I can still share my voice to people on social media. Yeah, so I'll share some tips on how to build your brand. The first thing is you have to understand your message. You have to understand your message. If you don't understand your message, it will be very difficult for you to build your brand, because people are going to be able to follow you if they are able to follow your message. So the first thing is for you as a person to understand your message. What am I trying to communicate to people? What do I want people to hear when they are following me? What is it? What do I want them to hear? That's the first thing that you have to understand as an individual. And while you're understanding your message, you also need to be unique. You know, on social media, there are a lot of things that are happening. In fact, each and everything is speaking. Somebody will go on social media, they will find news. They say like what is happening in the world now. There is war in Russia and Ukraine. A lot of things are just happening. But the question is, what will make someone to stop on your post? What is it? So you need to be unique for people to be able to say, okay, fine, let me wait and hear what it has to say. And there are times when you go into social media, you have specific people or you have specific pages that you want to see what they have posted new. But if you are just posting what everyone is posting, I think it will not be proper. People will not be able to follow you well. So you have to make sure by all means to be unique. The other thing is you need to be clear, to give a clear picture of who you are for people to be able to follow you well. Give a clear picture. Sometimes you see that somebody has got a page on social media, and the people tend to wonder, what is she doing? What is she up to? You see, people they have a lot of questions. Maybe they'll try to scroll down here and there to check what you have posted, maybe to grasp what you are up to. But upon your description, you can be able to give a clear picture, so that somebody should not be having a lot of questions of what is she doing or what is she up to. In that way, you'll be able to build your personal brand on social media. And the other thing is understand the service. You're on the social media to give a service, to bring an impact. What kind of impact do you want to give? What kind of impact when you're building your personal brand? I know we are there on social media, we want to voice out something. We want to voice out the message that is within us. We want to voice it out. But the question is, what kind of the impact do you want to give? So it's up to you. You have to be clear, to give the impact, to bring about the impact. And the impact that you are going to give on social media is the thing that will keep you in the game. And there are times that I have a page, of course, on Facebook. There are times people have texted me, they're like, I've been following you for some time now, and I really get inspired. I'm like, okay, I think really, I'm really giving the service. I'm really making the impact that I'm supposed to make. And the other one is you have to be willing to invest money in it. Be willing to invest money, even to budget for it. To say, okay, fine, I want to build my brand on social media. Let me invest money in it. Be up to date with what is happening. Like this time around, it's more of digital. It's more of social media. If you have business, you want to market, whatever, you really need to be on the social media platform. So as you are marketing tool, as the tool that you are building your brand, be willing to invest money in it. It's very much important. Whether it even means to have a graphic designer to be designing your posters, whatever, do that. It's really very much important. That will give a touch. It will give it will set what kind of people do you want to associate with, or it will set what kind of people do you want to impart? It will give a certain uniqueness. And the other one, which is the last one, is be able to start a conversation with people. You know, sometimes we are on social media, we always feel like somebody is going to text me first. Somebody is going to text me first. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes be the one to start a text. Like, I like what Allan said. I think he really emphasized on that. He said that you can easily, you send a friend request to someone. When they have accepted the request, you give a thank you message to that person. Yeah, that means you're conversating. And with that conversation, you'll be able to know to say, how can we connect more? Where can we, the conversation, where can it go? Something like that. Or how can I be of benefit to this one? Something like that. Yeah, so be able to start a conversation that will do very much good. And just to add more is don't compare yourself to others. There is a lot of things that are happening on social media, a lot and many. But sometimes we compare ourselves to someone who have got 2 million followers. And that thing sometimes may let us down. You're like, no, I think I'm doing nothing. Someone has got 2 million followers and I'm just having 1K. No, I think there's nothing that I'm doing. So sometimes you have to move in your own lane. Don't compare to others, but you can just learn from others. Yeah, thank you so very much for listening.
What a lovely way of saying it. Stay in your own lane. I really like that. It's so true, isn't it? Be yourself, be unique. I mean, that's the message. The powerful message you've given us today is, stay in your own lane, do your own thing, make it stand out. You know, you were talking about logos, making them stand out. Put that little bit of money into it, you know, put that little bit of money into your branding, make you be different from others and leave no doubt as to what you do as well. It's such a huge piece of advice. Again, I love the way you made it so concise and simple in terms of the steps. You've got your message, unique, clarity, impact, and conversations. And that makes it a lot more easier for people to understand and remember when they're thinking, right, yeah, what did I learn from that? And if you can just remember that those words, you can remember so much of what you shared with us today, which is fantastic. And, you know, April does that with her three M's as well. And I think we've had a wealth of information today. What do you think, Milliam, would be the biggest thing? I mean, April mentioned, you know, it's about finding your people and knowing who you're looking at, and then your people will find you.
Yes.
But what would you say would be one of your number one tips for starters who are, you know, you shared a lot with us, but what would you say is a really big thing that you could let them know is overall very important?
All right. The one thing that I can say is be willing to learn. Give time to learning. It will not take just a day to happen. It's a process. So give time to learning. And whether it means watching YouTube videos, reading books, whichever way it's possible, but give time to learning. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. That is a great golden nugget right there. I think, trust the process, isn't it? It is a process and everything's going to happen the way it needs to be. So fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. It's a pleasure to have you here. And thank you for coming. I can't wait to hear the questions that we get at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We now have our final speaker who's joining us today. It is the wonderful Nathan. And it's Nathan Twain Mulenga. I hope I did your name justice, Nathan. Apologies if it's not quite right. He's a physical and mental health speaker, and he's located in Lusaka in Zambia. He's a public speaker, a life coach, an entrepreneur, an author, business consultant, and marketing manager. His passion and goal is to inspire others to aspire to create the kind of life that they want. Nathan has attended Ballsbridge University, Possibility Practitioners, and Cavendish University, and he has a specific skill set as an inspirational speaker, a marketer, business advisor, and a consultant. And here he is telling you all about how you can help to make your personal brand on social media. Welcome to the stage, Nathan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you're able to get what I'm saying.
I'm
Awesome.
sure we
Thank
will.
you.
I'm looking forward to it, Nathan.
All right. Thank you. I remember the words of Shakespeare's. He once said, the world is the biggest stage and all of us are just actors. I think you can relate with that one. Yeah, so all of us are just actors and the world is one biggest stage. So that means that each one of us was given a specific role to play, and we do not have to copy from what others are doing or are trying to do. The biggest mistake most people make is that they tend to copy from what other people are doing, and forgetting that what they were to do was to impact the lives of people to greater extent other than what others have been doing. So I think that can be the first step even before we start doing what we're trying to do. Having the background of marketing, I understand the marketing mix, which is you have to know whether you have the product, whether you have the place, the price, promotion, and people. But since that now that we're dealing with social media, personal branding, then we have to do with the service. We are not offering a product unless the service that you're offering, people has to come and get the product from you. I feel the best we can do, the first thing to do is to identify the thing or a service that you are offering to people. Look for the service that you offer, and you need to do a market research. Look around you. How many people are doing the same thing that you're doing? Or how many people have invested so much time in what you're about to do? Because a number of times people tend to make mistakes where they don't do a research. They don't research. They just want to do what others are doing. Hence, they end up making losses. So it is very important and cardinal for us to do a research and identify the service that would like to offer to people. And that same service will build personal relationships with people. No wonder people tend to follow us, because they've seen that there's something that is relatable, that they can relate with. It's not just something that they have to follow. It's not just a matter of numbers or getting numbers on social media, but we have to relate with people. Once we relate with them, they'll be able to at least even get into knowing us personally, and they will be influenced by what we do on our daily basis or day-to-day life. Then the second thing that I would like to talk about is authenticity or action. I think Allan made mention of it. If we are authentic in whatever it is that we do, I think people will be able to identify, to say that this person is unique. And that brings me to a point of having a niche or a niche. Yes. You need to be unique in whatever it is that you're doing. Because if you're doing the same things that others are doing, then there will be no difference. Just like what Milliam said. What is it that will make you different from what other people are doing? Remember, there are so many influencers, there are so many public speakers that we have, but what is it that people will remember you for? And that's what has to be on top of the list whenever we are trying to launch or brand ourselves. And remember, you're not just branding the page, you are also branding yourself. So when people sees you physically, they have to see the very person that they see on social media. Because you are not just a person on social media. Your life affects others, and the way you live, the way you talk, the way you do other things affects other people as well. So we do have to make sure that whatever it is that we do has to be in line with our plans and our goals. So your product, your actions, and also the people or the audience that you are targeting. I can call that to be TAP or TAP. So which is a thing or a service that you're offering, then action or authenticity, then people. So it's TAP. Then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is a lot of people have failed to succeed because they think it's just a one-day thing. Once they make a post and people start following them. No, it has to do with passion, persistence, and also being positive. Because if we are attracting negative energy, we'll end up being frustrated because we are not going to see the results that we want to get by the end of the day. So it's very important and cardinal that as we are trying to do or invest in these things that we're trying to achieve by the end of the day, we have to make sure that we put our focus and our aim objectives in one thing. That is, what is it that I'm trying to achieve by the end of the day? And how is it going to help me? Is it just for a short term or a long term period? Those are the things that may help a number of people to build on what they are trying to put out there. So they have to identify a service that they are trying to give to people, and how is that service going to help people? Because those people will not just be there for a day. I remember the other speaker said that whatever, we have to be watchful with what we say, because you may end up hurting someone, not knowing that what you said is what made them upset. So we have to be careful as brand influencers, social media marketers, and others may define personal branding as self-marketing, because you're trying to networking with people. I remember at some point when I was doing field marketing, I'm concluding, I used to market products to people, but I never used to sell products only, but I also used to sell the relationship. The first thing I would sell is to make sure that I build trust. I build trust in them. And once I build that trust will be the foundation. The next time I'll go and see them, they'll be able to welcome me and they'll keep on buying products from me because I have built trust and relationship that I want. Then the other thing, when it comes to social media, we need to interact with our audience. They have to feel welcome. They have to feel at home whenever they are with us and whenever they're listening to what we are posting and what we want them to see. I think that's what I can say for now, unless there are questions. Thank you.
Brilliant, Nathan. Thank you so much. I loved, again, we've got another wonderful use of alliterations there to help us to remember what you shared, because when you're sharing on your social media, you mentioned the 3 Ps: persistence, passion, and positive. And I actually will take that in my mind when I think every time I'm doing a post, because you know that everything that you're putting out there needs to be really thought about. Like April was saying, you really have to tailor it towards the people that you're reaching, etc. And I think that what you said in those 3 words is another little reminder. of what the essence of your brand is that you're putting across to people. I loved you saying about, you know, the authenticity, and it was interesting because people have touched on how we've got to be careful when we're in the public, on the public stage, on Shakespeare's world stage, that we have to be mindful of not causing offense, and that we have to be mindful of what we say. At the same time, I think that that's where building the authenticity of who you are and being yourself, and the genuineness of building that trust with your audience and being real will help you if you know, because we're all human, and sometimes we might say something that we don't know might be offensive, and that could happen. But I don't want people to worry, you know, I've got to be concerned about what I put out there, and I'm not going to go on camera. I think that's the whole point of what we're saying here about being yourself, being authentic, being real, being somebody that can be trusted. And then people see you and they see the good intention between everything that you say, even if it might be, you know, misaligned ever so slightly at some point. And I think that's important to say. I think you shared a wealth of information there. Is there anything in particular you would like to really put out there as something super important? Number one, although it's very hard to choose a number one, isn't there, when there's so many things to tell people? Yeah.
Number one thing, I feel like we don't have to rush in when we are trying to make a decision. We have to take time. We need to make sure that we consult from other people. Yes, we may know, we may have the information on our fingertips, but we need to do a research and ask others. And yeah, we need to ask if at all they can give us the information, and we try to compare, because I've always known that as human beings, we learn through perception, transduction, and also sensation, which is we see, we judge, then we act. So we have to see, we listen to what others have to say, then we judge, where we can choose which doctrine is making more sense. But of course, every comment that people will make sense, but at least there will be those that you can choose out of what they said. Then you have to act. You choose, then you act upon what they gave you. So you need to consult from what others have to say. Thank you.
And again, you're reiterating, Nathan, about the importance of it being about them. You know, we're always thinking about our audience. And as if we've got the right audience from the beginning, which I think is where April started, and, you know, other people mentioned, you've got the right people, and then you start with who you want to aim at, and then they'll find you. You won't have to do the work if you've got it right. And again, I noticed that, you know, you started with research. That's how you opened it. And you ended on research, because we want to find out about what they want. It's not about us. It's about what we're giving to other people. So what a wonderful way to end our speakers today. Thank you so much, Nathan. And it's not the end, because I'm going to open the floor for some questions. If anyone here in the gallery with us today from the speakers has any questions for each other. I love when, Allan, you shared that little point about how you'd been touched by something that somebody said. I've had a chance to share my views on each of you speaking, and I welcome you to share any thoughts or questions that you have at this time. We did have one question before, while I give you time to think about that. And I want to say that a question came through for Allan from Shabari. She asked, what would you encourage people to include? And I'm not just going to ask this to Allan, I think, because she wrote this right after you put your speech forward, Allan. I'd like to put it to all of the gallery today. She wanted to know, what would you encourage people to include on their public profile, which will then encourage strangers to accept a friend request from them? And I would just say that I think a few of you did touch on making sure that you have that uniqueness, and that you're clear, you have the clarity about what you're who you are and what you're doing. So Allan, could I ask you to share with Shabari what you think people should include on their public profile? Allan, you're muted.
That didn't work too well, did it? Yeah, good question. And I think, a lot of it depends on what your intention, goal, what you want to get out of the experience of being on that particular social media, let's call it Facebook. My first important, to me, sales is not, am I selling something? I'm asking myself, how am I connecting with this person? And what I teach people is that I have 100% closing system. How would you like to learn to close 100% of your contacts into a sale? No, sorry, not a sale. How would you like to close everyone you talk to? What I mean by that is not that you close everyone to buying something from you, but close everybody to the next step of the relationship building process with you. So I close everybody. How I do that is I focus, as I said before, once I requested them to add me as a friend, I immediately respond and thank them for that. And then quite quickly in the process, I say that the reason I'm here, is not, I'm here because I would like to sell you my training program. That's not what I say. What I say is that the reason I'm on Facebook doing this is because I'm reaching out to like-minded individuals to see how we might mutually support each other or simply connect and see you go from there. Would love to chat sometime. And that's what I do. Keep it light, keep it casual, in the same way that if you would go to a singles dance, you wouldn't walk up and say, would you like to get engaged right away? You wouldn't do that unless you're really desperate, but most of the time it's not going to work. They're going to be out the door. But what you do is connect with your personality, with your smile. And I don't mean to manipulate, just to genuinely authentic, as Nathan said, be authentic and be yourself. I don't know, you're too young to know Dean Martin. Dean Martin was the greatest personality of all time. I watch his videos. He oozes joy and passion, and it makes me smile. And he was one of the best entertainers ever. And he was my greatest motivational teacher of all. Why? Because people just there's the likability factor of just enjoying being around him. I want people to come into my environment and create an atmosphere where they could be themselves. Then we could talk about the next steps.
Love it, love it. And also, Allan, I must be a lot younger than I look then, because I do unfortunately remember him. But thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That's brilliant. Anybody else want to take up that question and share your individual thoughts about it? April, you've muted. Welcome.
Yes, absolutely. Allan, one of my coach friends and partners would tell you it's always to be opening, not closing.
Yeah, that's great. Taught me another thing today.
Yeah. Well, and the gift in LinkedIn, they actually have, and actually in Facebook, etc., they have opportunities to create a next step for people. So one of the things on LinkedIn, you actually, we have our ebook, our Amazon link for the book on LinkedIn. And what we have found is when people read by the second chapter, they understand more about who we are and what we do. And it's a much lower investment for people. And the word I would use for anyone is to invite people to be in relationship and to meet them where they are. Because as Allan said, and having helped launch multiple singles ministries and been involved in that community, yes, you do not want to jump over a communication bridge and shut it down, but very quickly. So it's very, very wise. So thank you for sharing that.
Excellent. Thank you, April. Is there anybody else that wants to share? No? Okay, well, we'll move on to, Debbie, did you want to? Nathan? Okay, we'll move on to see if any of you have questions for each other. I'm very interested to hear if you had any thoughts, or if you want to share a little something that someone has said that touched you today. I would love that. And April, I'm going to put us on gallery view. For some reason today, I've been having a little bit of tech problems. I don't know if you've seen me the whole time, but I think on Facebook, occasionally my face has popped up. I think my computer is going a little bit crazy. I don't really know what's happening, but I would like to welcome all of you wonderful people to share something now that touched you, perhaps. And we will finish our 20th summit on a high, because we have had a lot of information today to process about making your personal brand on social media.
I just wanted to share something with Nathan, if that's all right. I loved how he said, what will people remember you for? And that is a huge thing to think of. What are people going to remember you for? And that was a really powerful statement. So thank you for that.
I appreciate you sharing that, Debbie, because it also reminded me, I tapped it quickly in the Facebook group, when you said to ask your question, you know, about how are you going to be different? I think, you know, it's such a simple question, but so important, because you do have to find your uniqueness, don't you? So thanks for reminding us to ask ourselves questions as well. That's what it reminded me of, to constantly through the process, no matter how long you've had your brand, like April said, you can rebrand, you know, nobody's stuck in stone, and, you know, it can be done and redone, but get it out there. Don't ponder on it and waste time thinking, oh, is it right? Get it done, feel good about it, and move on, because you can always tweak and change anything. And if you've got the right people with you, then they're going to understand and go along with you through those changes as well. Brilliant. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing that.
Well, I'll follow up with that, Debbie. Nathan, when you made the comment of being remembered, the quote came up for me is, every person has a unique fingerprint to make a unique impact. And I love your awareness that we are all on stage and we do not need to copy anyone. We are unique. We were built to be unique. So, and I know many people mentioned that. So it was very powerful.
And I think at the same time as well, I think sometimes as human beings, we probably think, oh gosh, there are lots of people out there doing what we do. How am I unique? What is it about me? But actually, there's a million things that make you special and unique, that makes your way of presenting something so different to somebody else. There is no other you, and there is no other way of you doing it. There might be people doing what you're doing, but they're not doing you, and they're not doing it your way. So I think that's something that we all need to walk away remembering as we're building our own personal brand and talking about our own authenticity and uniqueness today. Well, if there's anybody else, if not, I'm going to say I am absolutely honored to share the stage with wonderful, wonderful speakers and thought leaders today who've shared their wisdom so lovingly about making their personal brand and how they can help others to make that personal brand. It's all about sharing our voice here at Global Live Speakers, and we would like to invite people to join our community. If you would like to share your voice, and come on and jump on and practice being live. I wouldn't be sitting here now today as your host had I not joined that group and got over my fear of public speaking in front of that camera, and being able to practice in a safe family community like we have at Global Speakers was the key to me helping to overcome that. So if there's anybody in that position, I invite you to jump on and be with us. And if you're more seasoned as well, then come on and share your message to other people. Tell them what it is you want to get out to the world, because we've all got stories, and we've all got things that other people can learn from us. And what I have found recently, and probably in the last few years more so in my business, is that sometimes you're not even aware of what you know that other people don't know. So the more you talk about things and what you have and your knowledge, the more you'll find that you can help others. So I'm very proud of being part of Global Speakers Talk, and I hope that we've encouraged you to come on board with us, and then you'll be first in the queue to find out about our new YouTube Global Live speakers, which is coming very soon. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for being a part of this summit. To my speakers here today, to everybody in the team and in the background, thank you. And thank you to all the community members for being just an amazing family to be part of. And please join us again next month, towards the end of the month, when we have our 26th summit in the month of March. And we look forward to inviting another 6 speakers to join us at that time. All that's left for me to say is, I want to say thank you again to everyone here, and a lovely goodbye from me and goodbye from everybody on the stage. And we hope to see you soon. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.